Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another day here at Bronie's desk. And today I am very honored and pleased to welcome back the man they call Dr. Dirt. He's even got that on his, I noticed that you've got it written down on your little thing, whose name is actually Richard Renton. But this guy is so hard to get. Tell you what, I've been trying to get him for a very long time. And when we had him last month, he promised to come back at least once a month, which is awesome. But he's still hard to get even when he makes that promise. But that just shows how popular and everything that he is, because his knowledge is beyond anything that I can comprehend. It's pretty much like Doc Wallach's. It's just there. And pharmacist Ben, who we have every other week, it's just brilliant. But anyway, they call this man Dr. Dirt because he has helped Doc Wallach formulate what he wanted with our products. And we had a really great show last month with Richard. I nearly called you Dr. Dirt again. And so he said, no, well, what? He actually mentioned our cardiovascular products and stuff, and he said, oh, I'll touch on that next time. So I'm holding him to that, and because we have a few cardiovascular helping products, and I really wanted him to cover that, because there's particularly with what's been going on in the last 5+ years, however, you can't get my tongue right, you know, that the one that's come around because of, has become quite prevalent, and to the point that a friend of mine, actually, they are claiming that he got that from, because we've had devastating floods here a month ago, 34 days ago to be precise, and he's an electrician. He was out helping people in the floods and suddenly had a heart attack, got a bit sick with pneumonia, I think. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. And they put it down to being affected from the floods that caused that how would you say it? Cardiomyopathy. I don't know what it is. Anyway, they shouldn't use such big names, should they? Anyway, so with no further ado, Richard, I'm going to hand it over to you. And I also wanted him to share a little bit on our Nano
a little bit on that.
That is really new, and I still am trying to figure that out. But let's start with all our cardio products, please. Thank you.
So we had a question last month, and I want to answer that question first. Then we'll get into cardio, and that's how come you don't have the D3 in capsules.
Yeah.
And so I did some investigation for you guys, and I found out in New Zealand it has too much K in it. And since they imported into New Zealand for New Zealand and Australia, they weren't able to use that particular product. So it's legal in Australia, but since the warehouse is in New Zealand, we kind of get caught in a hard spot there. And so you have to kind of sneak it in if you want it in Australia. My email is richard@youngevity.com. It's not a hard one to remember. And if it's something that you want more information on or what can be done, I can help you. The only thing I'll tell you right now is by the time it's said and done, you'll probably pay more in postage than you will for the product itself because of what the rates are these days. But that being said, so the cardiovascular disease is kind of like saying the flu. There's lots of little things that can go wrong with the mechanics of the heart, including the circulation system. But one thing that we're very proud of in the United States, if a nutritional company wants to say that vitamin C is good for the common cold, and it's kind of common knowledge that it is, you have to prove within reasonable doubt to the Federal Drug Administration that it is vitamin C that's beneficial. Now, the vitamin the Food and Drug Administration is controlled by the pharmaceutical companies. So the last thing they want to do in the United States is allow a nutritional company to make what's called a health claim. And so that being said, so when I started to work with Dr. Wallach 25 years ago, we started to work on some health claim petitions and whatnot. And since then, there's only been 11 passed, period. That's it. Of which Dr. Wallach is directly responsible for 3, and indirectly responsible for another 1. So 4, so a third of them. So if you want to say that. One of them is that essential fatty acids will help prevent cardiovascular disease. And so the first thing I want to just point out to you guys, and I don't have Australian bottles to take pictures of, so I can't do that. But I think if I click
Our
this,
bottles the same as your bottles.
If I click that and I click that, do you see the bottle now?
Oh yes. I don't know if it's got the cardio effect.
That's not EFAs. So we'll switch that really quick, and I'll go over here, and the EFAs will show up. So essential fatty acids are primarily made of omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9. And I will tell all of you that if your body works correctly and you have the right ratio of 3 to 6, and that's twice as much 3 as 6, your body will make 9. So when you talk about Dr. Wallach and essential nutrients, he only counts 3 and 6 because your body can't make those. And so EFA plus is primarily a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 formula designed to be beneficial for those who eat more of a Mediterranean diet. Now, if you eat, unfortunately, more like us in America, we get too much 6 because we eat a lot of corn products. And so when you have too much 6, you got to be heavier in 3. So if you switch that over to Ultimate EFA, there's more 3 in it to help balance out the ratio between 3 and 6. And so if you go to what we call the Healthy Start Pack, which is the 90 essential nutrients, you'll notice that we put in an extra bottle of EFAs, and it's Ultimate EFAs, and it's a 180 count. Because if you have cardiovascular disease, and depending on the mass of your body, you could need easily up to 9 to 12 grams of EFAs a day. Now, our soft gels are right around 1 gram to 1.2 grams. And so we're talking about eating 9 of those a day. So the way we kind of set it up is that the EFA plus is a 90 count. The EFA 180 is a 180 account, which would give you a ratio of 9 a day. The other thing that's in the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack is the product selenium. And selenium is another health claim that we got passed through, actually in 2 parts. The first part is helps prevent certain cancers. And the other part is that it helps prevent cardiovascular disease. And so Dr. Wallach's science was based on monkeys and pigs that got certain cardiovascular disease. And when he was a veterinarian, he increased the selenium in the lab testing and prevented both diseases. And if you go to PubMed.gov, which is the United States Federal Library of Medicine, and you type in Dr. Wallach and selenium, you can start reading some of those research papers he wrote 35 years ago on that. But when we put the 2 together, we did that. So if you put 90 essential nutrients together for your general health, and you put in extra EFAs and selenium, you create a pack that is very, very good on cardiovascular disease. It's not cheap, so we won't try to blow any whistles there, but it's a lot cheaper than what most hospital stays are. At least if you come to the States, socialized medicine in New Zealand and whatnot, in Australia, maybe the bill won't be as bad, but you never know. So from there, we can go to various other products, and I'm going to have to slide my screen down because I have that we're being recorded. Oh, I guess I can hit OK. We'll do that. And we'll go to the next one. Good Herbs as a family was designed to be a healthcare professional recommended product. So it is stronger. All the Good Herb products are typically stronger than most products that we do. Now, there is some other exceptions, but I'll just say that. So a lot of people ask me, how much do I take? And on all of these, I tell you, only take what it says on the bottle. Twice as much does not mean twice as good. And so don't be doing that. But the heart support has some great herbs in it that have had proven health. Hawthorn berry basically cleans out your arteries of excess plaque. And so if your blood pressure will go down when you take hawthorn berry and you have better flow. EFA also loses the stickiness of your blood, so your blood flows fluer. But garlic, everyone knows that, you know, if you eat garlic, you have less cardiovascular challenge, and well as that. And by the way, I go to the Longevity site, and I can bring all these panels up. So all this information that's on this page is at your hands as well. The only thing I'll tell you is that if you look up here where my mouse is and it says United States, when you guys bring up your site, it says New Zealand. If you click on that, you'll get a pop-up that has all the countries that we sell into. And if you click over to the United States, you can get the United States website, and then you can look at the things that we can't get into you, but you might want to call up or send Richard an email and saying, can you get this to me? And so it's all there for you to see. Sometimes it's a little tricky to find it, and we'll go from there. The other one that is in the Good Herbs family is circulation. Now, I'll bring up a few. We already talked about flaxseed. That's primarily omega-3, which makes your blood run smoother. It also has ginkgo biloba in it. Ginkgo biloba will, what's the word I want? Expand your arteries and veins and capillaries so that they're a little bigger in diameter, so the flood goes down, as well as holy basil, which helps with the stickiness of your blood. And so all those things working well. Now, the other thing I should mention is that Good Herbs is all tinctures, and they are alcohol tinctures. And so if you're an individual that for some reason you want to stay away from alcohol, which I totally understand, you can pour your dose out the night before, let it sit on your counter overnight, and probably a huge percentage, at least to make the effort for you, of alcohol will evaporate away. And you still get the benefits of the herbs. And so we'll say that there, and so you can see that. But, you know, part of the thing that I try to teach my call in the United States that I start in about an hour is that I try not to give out information that I'm not willing to share what I got it from. And so a lot of the times I'll bring up these particular sites so you can see what's going on. The next ingredient that I'll point out that's really good for your heart is CoQ10. And let me bring up the supplement fact panel so you can see that. CoQ10 as a daily supplement, I take 200 milligrams a day. And so that's just something I take. So in this particular formula, you have 100 milligrams, so you would take 2 a day. The black pepper stimulates your circulatory system, gets your heart pumping a little bit more. You know, it's basically pepper. And so it speeds up your metabolism so that you absorb it better. And then the other thing is it has vitamin E in it, which helps you absorb CoQ10. So that's why we have the particular formula as its wish. I wish there's a way I could make this so I don't have to move it around. Hopefully I don't make you all sick. Now, all these products that I show you are available in Australia and New Zealand, except for heart support. And that's not because we can't get it in Australia. The office just ran out in New Zealand. and it will be on the next ship that gets there with it, and then it will be back in stock. And so all those there. The last one that you have in your country that I like is in the Pro line. There again, it's got some patent products in there that make it a little more expensive to make, and therefore, unfortunately, we have to charge a little bit more. But it has the key vitamins of vitamin D, E, iodine, and selenium that we've already talked about. I didn't talk about dosages of selenium. Most of the time, most of the research on selenium is 200 to 300 micrograms a day dose. So when you start taking ultimate selenium, which is 100 micrograms, you take 2 a day, you're at 200. You take some pro cardio, that's 250, you're right smack in the middle of the number, and the way you go. Then we talk about with the additional EPA and DHA, which we talked about, which is the 2 members of the omega-3 family. We also have turmeric, which we'll talk a little bit later about another product that I'll bring up. Resveratrol, which is refined grapeseed extract, quercetin, CoQ10, garlic, and then the pepper again. So it's a good general product. So you may run into an individual that says, well, I already take the multivitamin. I like the multivitamin. Do you just have something that will help me with challenges with cardiovascular disease, or I have a family history of cardiovascular disease, so I want to be proactive to it instead of waiting for something to happen? And that would be a good time to bring up the Pro Cardio, because it really does cover a majority of it. Notice that this dose is 2 soft gels, so there's 60 in a bottle, which means it's a 1 month supply at 30. I'm not quite sure how the Australian label reads, but I can tell you that's the target on it. And the fish oil that we use that is in it is from anchovy, sardine, and mackerel. And so I like it. It's a great product. I think it's beneficial. There's a couple that I know that we have that unfortunately we can't get into you. Let's see now, I want to bring them up. The first one is probably Stay Cardio, which is part of the Stay Natural line. It's also an herbal product, so we'll bring it up. And it has vitamins in it, the key vitamins involved. Fish oil, just like we talked about. CoQ10, just like we talked about. But then Laura Dennison, who is a herbologist and a naturopathic physician, you should get her on your call just to talk about the Stay Natural products if you haven't already. But she has the herbs pardon me?
We have Dr. Laura from time to time.
Yay. And she primarily has the herbs that have scientific research enough on it to make it reasonable to be in the formula. She also has it in veggie caps, which I don't really understand why, because hardcore vegetarians won't eat fish, and it's got fish oil in it. But you can point it out that there isn't any bovine or porcine or chicken or any of that family in the product itself. And the last one's Cardio FX, and I think I have it hidden behind here. And there's Cardio FX, and this was one of the original 14 or 15 products that I've had that I came out with when longevity was really young. So I'll say we've had this formula for over 24 years. I don't know why we can't get it in Australia, besides you already have about 6 different products, and how many do you need? But that's beside the point. But it's got the B vitamins in there, the magnesium, which we didn't talk about. I think magnesium is really important for the heart. I could put Osteomag in this family on that. It also has a folate as well as certain herbs. The hawthorn berry, especially CoQ10 and garlic, are all in there with a couple amino acids. This one, again, you would take 2 capsules a day, and it would be like a less expensive, before shipping, less expensive form of Pro Cardio as far as being beneficial. I rank it right up there with pro cardio, but you'll have to figure out a way to get it there, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Um,
just coming in and just quantifying that the reason we can't get it here is the folic acid and the B12 are too high.
well, change your government.
We
You
worked
have
on
a new
that. We've
prime
worked on
minister,
that, and
don't
we've
you?
now got new things happening behind the scenes that can work more with natural medicine. So yeah, watch that space in the coming year, couple of years.
So I can sneak it into Australia. I just can't get it into New Zealand. There we go. You know, the problem with B12, even the methyl form of B12, which everyone says everybody can absorb. Personally, I'm on the battlefield. You can absorb both types if you have a healthy gut. But if you don't have a healthy gut, then the genetic twists that can happen in your body makes methyl a little more challenging. Is that it is hard for your body to absorb it. Your gut just doesn't do a good job at doing it. And if we give you what the government says you need, you're going to need B12 shots. I absolutely guarantee it. Because you just don't absorb it. And so we have a tendency to put more 12 and more folate in the products for the sole purpose, with the idea that if you only absorb 10% of it, you're still getting a reasonable dose. I guess the only way to convince New Zealand of that is show the research study that if an individual takes X amount for 6 months, here's his blood test before and here's his blood test after, and see if how big of a study we would have to do to convince them. But that does make a challenge.
That's part of the problem, you see. There are certain nutrients that our government has seen as medicines because they actually have a profound effect on the health. And this is one of them. So they made it really weak. So you made it hard to get it from a supplement and you have to get it from your doctor. Well, yeah, they speak
Yeah.
highly about it, what it can do for you, but they've restricted it because it has major health benefits because we've proven it does. So we've stopped trying to prove it to the government and just keep it to ourselves like we do with the I-26. I'd hate to lose that.
So A, I'm sorry. B, I wish I could correct something, and we'll just continue battling on. We have the benefit in the United States right now that we have the secretary in charge of the FDA, Federal Drug Administration, and the disease center is pretty loose on his feelings. He doesn't like vaccinations, and he thinks that people should have more freedom on dietary supplements. So we're hoping that a bunch more health claims get passed through the system, and the United States have a little greater freedom, and then maybe by showing the benefits, we can convince them, hey, we do this in the States, this is why, this is the results, and then maybe we can do it. You know, the biggest thing in the United States is that we don't have socialized medicine. You all pretty well know that. And because we don't have socialized medicine, the bills can just bankrupt a family unless you have really good insurance, which isn't cheap anyways. And so if we can figure out ways for people to stay healthy without getting sick and having to go to the hospital, we're doing them a financial favor as well as a health favor. And, you know, one of the big things people go, well, your products is expensive. And I could be spending $6 a day on vitamins. And I go, well, how much do you spend on your Starbucks a day? And they turn around and just kind of go, and I go, well, everyone has to make choices. And I'm not going to tell you what choice to make. All I'm saying is that it's a decision that you're making. It's not the actual problem that it's $6 a day. It's just where do you want to allocate those $6? And, you can have a cup of coffee at home for one, and you're most of the way there, and so.
And you can have a healthy one as well.
Absolutely. You can have mushrooms in it and it'll be beneficial. So there's all those challenges that we try to get into and do this. And I'm going to look like I'm not looking at you, but I'm actually going to my screen to bring something up. If I can
we have two other cardiac ones. We have the cardio
sticks.
And we have the Cardio Beat. What is your take on those two?
Oh, you can get them both in. So
we can.
Beats
That's why I've got them here.
Oh, Beats are my favorite. Beats would be probably, if I had a healthy start pack of Beats, I'd be happy. I'd probably still want CoQ10 too, but I love Beats. Cardio sticks are okay. It has fillers in there, and I'm just not a big filler fan. And so if I can get away taking it with less of that stuff in it, I'm happier. You know, a lot of the filler that is in most American products is derived from corn, which is GMO'd, but we don't. We still use the brown rice that's organic out of Canada that's non-GMO. But, you know, there's just certain things that I like. So beets I love. I think, what is it? 1 scoop equals 4 beets. And I think I can't eat 4 beets in a day, even though I think my spouse, Karen, could without a problem, because she puts them in the oven and it's in every salad that she eats and all that. But, you know, I can take a scoop of cardio beets every day without a problem. The other one, and we'll bring this up again if I figure out how to do this correctly, that you wanted me to talk about, and it should be popping up there.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing with Nano. A, I love it. B, it tastes absolutely great. You're going to love the taste. But it's basically an antioxidant, and it supports your immune system. Honey is actually, we get it down where you guys are. And the benefit of getting local honey, and this would fall more in line with you guys than it does us, is that it helps with all your allergies, all your natural plant allergies that you get during the spring and summer down there. And so I always have all my people get local honey up here and put a little bit in their tea, put a little bit in their coffee, put a little bit in their cereal. I don't care, but put honey in your diet and it helps you with that particular thing. There again, we have the black pepper, as you can see there, to speed up your metabolism, as well as thyme oil. So people always send me notes. And so this one's kind of interesting. And now I forgot. Do you have mosquitoes down there that drive you nuts?
Yes.
Okay, so someone just told me which oil to take for the mosquitoes. Cypress oil mixed with a carrier and put it in a spray bottle and spray it on your skins. Mosquitoes can't stand cypress. Now, here's the other thing I'll tell you. You always hear these stories, well, mosquitoes love me, so they always bite me. They bite everybody. It's just some people are allergic to the bite. And those are the ones that think they get picked on. You know, so, you know, I don't think I want to do this to prove it, but if someone has an allergy to mosquitoes or sensitive mosquitoes, they put their hand in one of these mosquito traps with a net, and you just see the mosquitoes just get on their skin. Well, if you put my arm in there too, and I'm not sensitive to them, just as many will get on my arm. But if you spray the cypress on there, none will get on your arm because they can't stand the smell of cypress. So it's a way to get around that. So there's that. So I left myself intentionally about 15 minutes so that we can answer questions. And then the ones that I can't answer, I'll be on next month and I'll have the answers for you by then. So
well, I can guarantee you Karen's room will have questions. If they don't, I will be totally surprised. So Karen, do your guys have questions? And she's not
unmute yourself.
You got to unmute yourself.
Yep. Has anyone got a question? No. About the cardio part? Anything else? No? All right.
No, not yet.
Okay. No, that's all for us. Thank you, Richard. That was us. Oh,
wow. I cannot believe that Karen's room does not have questions. They always have questions.
Yeah. But Richard answered it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, when you get good answers, you find, oh, well, I don't need to ask that question now.
So no, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, well, awesome. Okay, do we have anyone else that has questions? Or Grant?
Grant.
Yeah.
I see Grant hands up.
G'day, Richard. It's probably a bit too big for today, and it might be another like lesson type thing. But we have a lot of people dealing with various types of cancer and going through immunotherapy and chemotherapy and all that sort of stuff. And if they want to do that, what sort of products would work in line to help their immune system sort of build up?
So I will say a couple things in general. If they ask their doctor and get permission to use it, it will always be no. Because the research that the doctors have do not consider the scenario of nutrition being involved. So they'll literally tell them, don't take anything. And to me, it's crazy. And as an American, I can elect to hear it in one ear and come out the other and doesn't rattle in between, and I'll take it anyways. But one thing I'll be telling you is I'll be taking 400 to 500 milligrams of selenium a day.
Yep.
And I would be taking turmeric, which has the highest level of turmeric or curcumins. You guys get turmeric?
Yes.
Okay. Turmeric, that would definitely be in there along with essential fatty acids. But when we talk about cancer, there again, it's kind of like the flu. There's 100 different cancers and they can all be different. And then you have the different stages of cancer. For example, prostate cancer. We'll talk about that one just in general. Prostate cancer, there's some great herbs on it. There's actually a good herb product for prostate. Prostate cancer type 1, level 1 in the United States, and I assume it's probably the same there. It's they can do a biopsy on a prostate and they divide it into 12 zones, and they can see cancer cells in certain zones, but not all zones, and they don't think it's outside the prostate. Second level, it's in pretty much all the zones, but they still don't think it's out of the prostate. So there's primarily 5 different styles of prostate cancer, of which one grows really fast and the others grow really slow. So I just turned 70, but I am a prostate cancer survivor.
We know you turned 70 because you turned 70 on our last call.
Well, May 13th. So so at 70, if I got told I had one of the slow cancers, odds on favor, if I live 20 years, God bless us, but I probably won't die of prostate cancer because it's really slow growing. But if I got that one fast one, which unfortunately was the style I got when I was in my 40s, it was doubling in size every 3 months. And so that is when you have to do your due diligence, find out what's going on, make the decisions that are right in your mind, because my decision was to remove the prostate because it was still in the prostate. And if it kept doubling in size and got outside my prostate, I'm in real trouble. And so those are decisions. So all forms of cancer have that situation. Some of the hardest cancers to deal with, as far as nutritionally even slowing up, is once it's in your liver. Or in your blood, because it gets everywhere in your body. And so it is a challenge. But, with prayer and 90 essential nutrients with lots of EFA and lots of selenium, we can cross our fingers and hope to reduce that challenge. So there's a 20-second question with a 5-minute answer.
Oh, that's excellent. Thank you,
Richard.
All right. And Michael has a question. So, Michael, can you unmute my man? And
yeah, hi.
Can you turn your camera on so I can add you to the spotlight?
Yeah, that's fine. There you go. Hi.
Now I've lost you.
Oh, okay.
No, you're right. No, it moves around once you turn your camera on. That's all. And then
you're considered a higher priority.
Thank you. Yeah, my question, Dr. Durden, and great to meet you for the first time, I think, because I've only just rejoined Longevity after about 10 years. I should have stayed in, but that's the way it is. Yeah, I'm always concerned about talking to people about supplements before they've sorted out their leaky gut. As we know, with glyphosate in 1997, I think, caused a dramatic change in everybody's health based on the leaky gut. Is there any product? Is there any product that a single product or a group of products that will sort out the leaky gut? And do you think that's the first priority before supplementing?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. I'll answer that one very quickly. Send me an email, richard@youngevity.com, and I'll send you a protocol from Dr. Joanne Conaway.
Oh, great.
But Kevin talked about earlier about I-26. And I don't know if you're in New Zealand or Australia, but
Australia.
Okay. I would consider that an absolute must that you get it. Your people that are struggling with leaky gut gets on their program. So you have good bacteria and bad bacteria in your gut, and it's an unhealthy situation. So lots of EFAs to make it healthy, lots of probiotics. Now, have you ever seen one of our probiotic pills? They're not really big pills, right? And some of them have 30 billion cultures in them. And I can tell you, you have over 5 pounds of probiotics in your gut. Yeah. So these 30 billion are just a drop in the bucket, but it's seeding. So what probiotics does is seed your gut so you grow better stuff. And what the I-26 is that you have a balance of good bacteria and bad bacteria. It kills the bad bacteria so that you can get a greater percentage of good bacteria in your gut, which will give the opportunity to make your leaky gut syndrome healthier. Now, the big thing about leaky gut syndrome, to give people an idea, is if you took AstroTurf and you rolled it into a tube, that's kind of like what the inside of your gut looks like. Except unless you get leaky gut, then it looks like short matting carpet. In other words, all the good stuff that you need in your gut can't get down into the fibers of your gut, and you start to have problems, and it's a compounding effect. And if it gets extremely bad, you'll actually leak into your abdominal cavity fluids that were in your body. Now, that's a really extreme case. Most people won't get that far, but it's a way. So his question was, does it make sense if you think make sense in general to always take digestive products when you start to go on a nutritional program? And the answer of that's yes, not only for leaky gut or bowel syndrome or any of that, but just to make sure your gut's healthy. Because if you're spending $6, $8 a day and it's just going out and going into the loo, it's kind of a waste of money. So if we get your gut healthier and your body absorbs it more and it gets throughout your body, it's a plus. So 9 times out of 10, my new people, I always put them on the Healthy Digestive Pack with I-26 for the first month. And then we talk about how they feel after the first month.
Yeah, thanks for that. Just one further ongoing question from that. Keto diet. I think everybody talks about keto diet, particularly in longevity. I know people thought it was a fad, but I think it was invented 100 years ago. So really, even if you start doing what you're saying in the protocol, would you suggest that everybody, obviously low carbs, it's got to be low carbs, and organic. Otherwise, you're just trying to fill up the hole in a leaky gut in a boat, and is still causing a problem. So would you suggest a keto diet together with the products you just mentioned?
I kind of lean in a little bit different direction. Carbohydrates, you can reduce your carbohydrates. I think it's processed food that is the greater evil. And so I tell people, if they look more towards a Mediterranean diet, and in America, if you come here, and we can see if it's the same there, the produce section, the meat section, the dairy sections are always on the outside of the supermarket. And in the middle is, I'm being recorded, in the middle is all the crap. All
the processed stuff's in the middle.
Yeah, all the processed stuff's in the middle, all the crackers, all the chips, and all those types of scenarios. And so if you can just learn to fill up your cart from the outside and stay away from the middle, you'll be doing better. The other thing is that back when I was young, when we went on picnics, we always had plates, and they were always kind of divided into thirds. But one section was always bigger than the other two, which 50% of the plate, and the other two sections was always broken up equally. And what I'll tell you is that we used to put the fried chicken and the hot dogs and everything in the big section. And really the big section should be salads, fruits, and vegetables. And in the little section is the other stuff. So if you can do that, I think you'll be more successful. And also read your labels. You know, we have a thing in our family. Karen really pushes me on it, and she's a borderline vegan. If it's got more than 4 ingredients, forget it.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about salads, the Mediterranean diet, everybody will have a wonderful salad and et cetera, et cetera. And then they start putting on salad dressing. And that really...
Yes, there we go with the ingredients list.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we make all our own dressings, and they're usually an oil and vinegar base that we just flavored with the oranges or the cranberries or various other things to give it places. Plus, she loves Indian food, so she knows more about spices than I do. And so she makes her own spice blends, and she puts that in the salad dressing. So as far as that goes, yeah, I kind of lean a little more. I also eat in a 8-hour period. So, and I try not to snack. When I snack, it's basically telling me I'm not getting enough plant-derived minerals.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks very much for that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Michael. And Karen's room does have a question. So, Karen, do you want to unmute? So, okay.
Yeah, I did it. Unrelated to heart, though. It was about kidneys. If you're trying to avoid going on a dialysis because you're low, your kidney, what is it, Carla? The kidney is
16%.
16%, and your doctor's telling you may have to go on a dialysis. And Carlo has been on our kidney products and watching what he eats, but it's not moving the figure. Do you?
I would get kidney support from good herbs,
which he has, which he is.
And how many EFAs are they taking a day?
What?
EFAs.
Oh, no.
He does. He doesn't. He doesn't take that.
Start out with 6.
Right. The EFA plus.
Either one. You want omega-3 is the primary concern.
Okay, and I suggested more minerals as well, because the minerals is what
won't hurt. But yeah, definitely the kidney, bladder, and then lots of EFAs.
Okay. All right. Did that answer your question?
All right, guys. I'm going to have to rest my voice for my next call. Send me an email and we'll set up the next date.
We will. Okay, so we'll close there. So as I ask you all nicely here in Bronie's world, to stay safe, stay informed, be empowered, but do not live in fear, my friends. And when you're taking care of your heart, reading the labels, staying away from processed foods, then you too will be powerful, beautiful, brilliant, and most definitely very brave. God bless you all. Catch you again tomorrow here in Bronie's world. And thank you, Richard, or Dr. Dirt, as everyone likes to call you, for being here with us today. And we look forward to having you again next month.
Yeah, thanks.
All
Richard.
right.
Much
See everybody.
appreciated.
Thank you.
Look forward to listening to you again.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you,